There was a show on Starz that was called Heels. Now, I would imagine that most of you guys have never heard of it. The only reason I knew about the show is because Starz is the only premium network that I'm willing to pay for. And the only reason I pay for Starz is so I can watch Power and BMF. Heels, though, Heels was a drama series that was centered around pro wrestling, or what they prefer to call today, sports entertainment. The show was based in the fictional town of Duffy, Georgia. It followed all the stars of the Duffy Wrestling League. Now, I thought the show was good. I wouldn't go so far as to calling it great, but Hills was definitely a good show. It was entertaining. Season 2, it ended a couple of weeks ago on a dramatic cliffhanger. All season long, they had been building up this cross-promotional rivalry between the league and Duffy and their rival promotion in Florida. The entire season, it builds up to this final match where the main character of the show pisses everyone off backstage by going off script. He pulls a swerve. Long story short, season ends with him laid out in the middle of the ring, crowd going wild. But he can't feel anything from the neck down. The dude is paralyzed. Now, I know I didn't describe this too well. I didn't want to drag it out for too long and go into too much detail, but it was the perfect cliffhanger, the perfect way to end season 2 and build into season 3. There was just one small problem here. There's not going to be a season 3 of Heels. Earlier this week, Starz, they announced that they were canceling the show. Why? There wasn't a reason provided, but if I had to guess, Starz pulled the plug on Heels because of low ratings. Ratings for season 1 weren't all that great. Ratings for season 2 were even worse. Starz didn't spend any money promoting the show, and the cast couldn't promote the show this summer because of the writer's strike. Ratings are not nearly as important on premium networks like they are on basic cable. People, they're already paying for the network. There are no expectations from advertisers because there are no advertisers. But even with that being the case, when a show is not performing in the ratings, even on a premium network, there's only one end result: cancellation. Now, when I heard the news earlier this week about Heels, the first question that popped into my mind: how can a good show like this get canceled for low ratings while the WNBA is still allowed to be on television? Someone please make it make sense. I know I'm not a genius, but this concept is so simple, even a dumbass like myself can understand it. There's only one thing that matters in the business of television: ratings. If you draw an audience, you've got a chance to remain on TV. When you don't draw an audience, you're gone. Heels did not have the luxury of free media promotion. They didn't have pretend friends in the mainstream media constantly virtue signaling, begging people to care about them. The Dump receives more mainstream media coverage than NASCAR, PGA, maybe even UFC and WWE. Now, those are all niche sports, just like the WNBA. But for some reason, the Dump receives more attention from the media than all the others. I had someone email me earlier this afternoon. Some legendary Major League Baseball player named Brooks Robinson passed away today. I had never heard of him. He retired almost 10 years before I was born. Apparently, though, this guy was a very big deal in the 1960s and 1970s. Baseball Hall of Famer dies. That should be one of the leading stories on ESPN.com, right? I mean, this is the network that claims to be the worldwide leader in sports. You know what the front page story was on ESPN.com today? Highlights from a fart contest that happened in the Dump 2 days ago, and some dump diver named AJ Wilson complaining because she wasn't named Dump Diver of the Year. Yet for some reason, even with all this free publicity, even with all of this free media coverage, the WNBA still can't attract the whoopee cushion to an air compressor. The second round of the WNBA Playoffs, better known as the Chase for the Golden Toilet. Second round of the Chase began this past Sunday. Now the Dump, they are giving you exciting matchups. The faces of Just for Men, the Connecticut Suns. Hairiest team in the league, the hardest team to beat in those dramatic facial hair counting contests in overtime. Standing in their way of off-season access to the Golden Throne are the New York Misery. If I remember correctly, Before the regular season started, ESPN tried to claim that a new Big Three was forming in New York City. When I first saw the promo earlier this spring, I thought they were talking about the New York Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets. ESPN was talking about the beautiful ladies from the New York City Dump. They tried to make us believe that this trio of pretend basketball players was going to be bigger than LeBron James, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh. Allow us to introduce you to the new Big Three: Bree Stu, Chucky Vandersloot, and Sabrina Ionescu, or Sabrina Ionescu, or I honestly don't think it matters what her name is. We also have a very heated matchup between the Dallas Wankers and the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces. Now, this rivalry features deep-seated jealousy. The Wankers wish they had the pretty faces of the ladies from Vegas, and some of those in Vegas wish they had Wankers. The action kicked off Sunday afternoon, live from what used to be the greatest city in the world, New York City. With ESPN being the supposed home of the Dump, and with professional cornhole entering their off-season, the worldwide leader in woke, they finally gave the WNBA a doubleheader on their network Sunday afternoon. The first game between the Suns and the Misery, 394,000 miserable viewers. The KC ratings are low because they were facing stiff competition from the NFL. Yeah, well, how do you explain the low ratings from the first round of the playoffs? The first round of the WNBA playoffs were a huge, embarrassing failure. We are now in the second round. These dump divers, they can hear the flushing water from the Golden Throne. They can see that toilet handle. Their dreams of an off season without the porta potty are finally within reach. And you're drawing 394,000 viewers? Unfortunately for the WNBA, that is the good news. The second game featured the defending champions and current users of the Golden Throne, the Anonymous Faces. Now, they were at home dump to participate in pretend basketball against the Wankers. 182,000 viewers. 182,000. If it wasn't for college volleyball, the WNBA would have finished dead last Sunday in the ratings. These ratings were so bad, the Dump was easily beaten by the NASCAR pre-show that aired on USA Network. Matter of fact, the NASCAR pre-show or pre-race show, whatever the fuck they call it, NASCAR almost doubled the ratings from the WNBA. Yeah. A group of dudes analyzing rednecks driving cars around in circles drew 650,000 viewers. Now, the Dump hasn't seen an audience number that high throughout the postseason. There is no justification. There is not a reason that you can give me. It is beyond simple at this point. The WNBA does not belong on television. If you're drawing 182,000 viewers on a Sunday afternoon, you don't belong on TV. And that was with one of the most marketable teams in the league. Las Vegas has the biggest name in the WNBA, Becky Hammon. Now, I don't know why Becky Hammon is wasting her time in the Dump. She's one hell of a coach. Becky Hammon belongs back in the NBA. She would have stayed in the NBA. I really believe that Becky Hammon would have been the first female coach in NBA history. But for reasons unknown, she has wasted the last 2 years training garbage women. There's just no other way to say it. This business model does not work. They have tried for 27 years to get people interested in the WNBA. It ain't working. Out of curiosity, I checked attendance for the WNBA playoffs. Since they're not drawing ratings on television, I figured that all their fans were attending games in person. Guess how many sellouts they've had? Just take a wild guess. 0. They haven't come close to selling out a playoff game. Hell, most of these games aren't even coming close to selling 10,000 tickets. I have been to a lot of NBA games, both regular season and postseason. During the playoffs, you are not getting into the building without spending several $100s. I normally sit about 10, maybe 15 rows from the court. It's a mortgage payment. Tickets very expensive in the NBA. How much are tickets in the WNBA? 24 hours before an NBA playoff game, tickets normally sold out. Tomorrow night for the game in Connecticut, the entire arena is still available. For the exorbitant price of $24, you can catch live action in the dump. Just think about that. This league is struggling to sell tickets when tickets are the same price as a quarter tank of gas. My inside sources tell me that they are trying to entice fans to buy tickets by giving away complimentary wiener. But even with that prestigious incentive, the entire arena is still available. You're not drawing on television. You're not drawing at the gate. You're struggling to sell tickets during the playoffs. Now, these are all signs of a bad business, right? I mean, looking at all these signs, there is absolutely no way, no way that this business could expand, right? If a real business were in this same situation, they would be closing locations or even worse, going out of business. Now, how is the WNBA addressing this problem? I know the solution. I know how we can grow our league. Let's expand. Expansion? Expand? Are you out of your fucking mind? Yesterday, it was announced that the NBA is further subsidizing this dump by adding a new team in the Bay Area. Headline at Defector: Golden State Warriors mercifully end Oakland's professional sports drought by putting a dump in San Francisco. Have you seen San Francisco lately? The last thing that city needs is another dump. Hell, the bombs have turned most of the city into a dump. But now that I think about it, maybe this is a good thing. Actually, now that I think about it, this is a brilliant move by the Golden State Warriors. I really like the initiative here. They are not waiting for doofus politicians to address the city's trash problem. They took it upon themselves to bring the best garbage collectors in the country to San Francisco to process the city's trash. Brilliant, brilliant idea. If the NBA ever pulls out of this league, it is over. The NBA is the only thing keeping the WNBA afloat. This is the very definition of socialism, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. We have socialism in basketball. We have socialism in soccer with equal pay. What's going to be next? What's next? Is the NFL going to be pressured to subsidize a female flag football league that no one is going to watch? Give me your thoughts. WNBA opens the second round of the playoffs with ratings that were worse than the first round. Make it make sense. Give me one good reason that the WNBA should be on television. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys and all your support. Follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.